Well then, we're back. Already. Before the month's already even done. Honestly, I'm quite surprised to even be back doing this, but I've been a lot more motivated recently, and I don't know why. So, today, I'm doing a how-to-play guide for Expanded Universe Special Operations. Special Operations is a smaller mode instead of something like the war game, where it's legions upon legions or hordes upon hordes, but it still remains complex and in-depth. It allows me to have a lot more wiggle room and focus on the smaller factions that don't get the limelight or simply wouldn't be as good in the big game. Because all the games are linked together via rules in one way or another, Expanded Universe Special Operations, or I'll mostly be referring it to as EUSO, or simply SO, does have a small bit of add-ons, but to cover the basics. Operative names is the name of an operative, as one might suggest. HP stands for hit points, how many hit points they have, which is pretty simple. It represents the amount of damage an operative can take before they're defeated and being removed from the board. A operative with 0 HP is considered to be eliminated or killed, whatever you want to call it. Defense, or DEF, is how you reduce enemy rolls for melee skill or ballistic skill weapon. For example, Defense 3 means the opponent subtracts 3 from their attack roll after they pass the accuracy test, or minus 3 to their accuracy test. Defense cannot reduce a roll below 1, but applies to both melee and ranged weapons unless stated otherwise. So, for example, ballistic skill 6 minus a defense of 2 means that'd be a 4. Melee skill determines the operative's skill with, well, melee weapons. To hit in melee, you roll a die and get a result equal or below to a value, a d10 system. You ignore the quote-unquote hit process, or the accuracy, and go straight to quote-unquote wounding, or the attack dice step. So you can completely ignore the first step of rolling dice and simply just go to hitting them hard. Ballistic skill represents an operative's proficiency with ranged weapons. When using a ranged weapon, you roll a die and then you achieve a result equal or below to its value. The first time is accuracy and the second time is to wound. Your next is movement, or simply just move. It specifies the maximum distance in inches that an operative can travel in a single movement action. Each operative can take 2 actions per turn, allowing for combinations such as moving twice, moving and attacking once, or moving and interacting with objectives. The next one, which will fluctuate between teams, is morale. Morale reflects an operative's fortitude or resolve under pressure. You roll a d10, and a success occurs if, well, the roll is equal or below the unit's morale value. Failure might result in penalties, such as, in the militia's case, the levy rule, which makes them move back 4 inches, while other failures for other teams or certain clauses might force you to take damage or just simply remove the model. Operatives have 2 actions per turn, as stated before, unless specified otherwise, or they're under some sort of effect. These actions can be spent on the combination of the following: melee attack, ranged attacks, psychic attacks or psychic actions, which have not been discovered yet in the game, and when we do, it will be greatly expanded on. Objective actions, such as interacting with the game objectives, capturing points, disarming devices, or other scenario-based tasks. Movement, where you move up to its listed move value. A passive morale test, if you need to do one by game conditions. And then an active morale test is being forced to take one. Overwatch, it's a special out-of-turn reaction. It can be triggered if the operative has not activated this round or end its activation with 1 action remaining, or however you want to end it with. So you could do 2 actions into Overwatch. It allows the unit, operative, to react to enemy movement. So, for example, if an operative moves into line of sight and of weapon, then you can perform an Overwatch action. When you perform an Overwatch action, you -1 until you have no more Overwatch to do. The next one is charge. Charging is a singular action, but it allows an operative to double its movement value and immediately perform a melee attack if an enemy is within range. However, if no valid targets exist within the extended charge range, the action fails and the unit does not move. Note, by it saying the action fails, it should instead mean, and I will rewrite this later, you just can't perform it. Now, let's get to how you hurt people, your weapons. For starters, the weapon name. It's very simple. Light rifle, close combat sword, semi-auto pistol, giant hammer, whatever it may be. Your range indicates the maximum distance in inches a ranged weapon can fire. However, for melee weapons, this is represented how far the model can go to engage an enemy. Like how in other games would be just right out of range to get into an enemy to box their face in, you can move that additional value and it doesn't cost anything since it's included in the action to hit them. However, this range can also be used to quote-unquote reach an enemy if it possesses the ability to do so. So like spears, glaives, so on. This, simply put, is to reduce not rage per se, but annoyance with just being slightly out of range to hit with your melee. With that inbuilt range value, you're able to get into base-to-base contact faster. Damage is how much damage each successful attack dice does. Damage is then, of course, subtracted from the target's HP. After that, armor penetration. You reduce a target's defense by the specified value. AP does not carry over if the target's defense reaches 0. Any excess AP is ignored. So, how this will work is when you decide to shoot or attack a target, you first your AP negates the defense, and then you roll normally. Note, AP is not a booster to your ballistic skill or melee skill. It is just simply reducing the defense. Accuracy or attack dice are the two steps required to wound an enemy, damage it if you will. Accuracy dice is the first step. It's the first roll to determine if your sights line up, or if you can prepare a strike. The leftover dice from the accuracy step is then put into the attack dice pool. So, for example, if I have 2 accuracy dice I roll in the accuracy step, and I only have 1 left over, I only have 1 dice to roll in the attack dice step. Noted, on the data sheets, it does say accuracy dice 2 and attack dice 2. So you would assume if you rolled 1 or 2 accuracy dice, you would get 3 or 4 attack dice. Nope, it's just a nice little way of saying this is the base maximum of dice you could have to fire with or to attack with. Of course, you include different modifiers and everything, and things change. Special abilities are, special abilities some operatives can perform. They only cost 1 action, unless they specify otherwise, and such examples are like this. On the Malicious Cell Medic, they have Save Life, a once per round ability where, if this operative hasn't activated yet, it can use its remaining actions, or the ones it hasn't taken yet, and it can revive a fallen operative within line of sight, moving into base-to-base contact with the slain operative. And then you bring that model back and set it up where it was. Special rules are things on operatives that give them more flavor. For, as previously mentioned, the Militia Levy rule is on most Militia Cell operatives, where if they fail a morale test, they have to move back 4, representing their weak human nature. However, some, more experienced, like the Militia Cell Commander, don't have that, but rather have change of tactics, which I won't get into these specially named operatives for the Militia Cell, because that will be for their own video. Now, compared to my other videos, this one's rather short, 7, 8, 9, possibly even 10 minutes long, compared to my gallery of much longer videos, around the 20 to 30, maybe even 40-minute mark. And the reason why is because the complexity comes from the factions themselves, rather than the game. I mean, I'm literally reading off 2 pages of rules here, and that's it. Well, I really hope you all enjoyed this. I'm trying to get back in the groove of things, and maybe I'll start doing like per model recommendations or something. I do have more coming in terms of special operations, which I hope to be main my main source of video creation for a while now, and then I'll move into secondaries. Besides that, I appreciate you all for being here, and I will hope to see you guys next time.